Over the last few years here in the Lakes area, the Detroit Mountain Recreation Project, or the Detroit Mountain Project in general, has garnered lots of attention and lots of controversy for different reasons at different times. But after last week's Becker County Board of Commissioners meeting, the project could be a step closer to becoming reality. That's when the Becker County Board of Commissioners agreed to change the zoning of Detroit Mountain from its current residential/commercial status to agricultural status, which, if I understand correctly, clears the way, or at least makes it easier for the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area Incorporated Group to potentially acquire that property with the city acting as the public entity and maybe install the Four Seasons Recreation park there that's been so dreamed about by many people here in the city of Detroit Lakes and across the Lakes area. Now, I know a lot of people might have mixed feelings about this. About 3 years ago when this project first was discussed and came out, I was adamantly against the Detroit Mountain Recreation Project, frankly because I felt it exposed way too much public money. At the time when the project first came out, there were talks of $1 million, maybe more, of county money going to acquire the property, maybe put in some infrastructure, etc. All that plan's been scrapped, and really private donations and private fundraising by the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area Group is supposedly going to make up a big majority of the cost of the Detroit Mountain Project. Now, it isn't without some public money. The city of Detroit Lakes has committed $300,000 to this project, and there's also some different, I guess you could call them tax credits, something along those lines that will also bring some money to the group for this project. But a vast majority of it is being fundraised. And while I don't know at this moment where the numbers are at, I've been told the fundraising is going fairly well, although fairly well I suppose is a vague term. And we're being told to stay tuned because sometime this summer there could be a big announcement coming soon about possibly a fundraising opportunity for the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area. Maybe it'll be some other announcement, but it's something we'll definitely have to stay tuned here. But I like the idea of the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area. Why was I against it before? Because I didn't believe we should put a whole bunch of public money up for it. $300,000 to me is a reasonable amount to pay for 200 plus acres of land, and there's a guaranteed 5-year cash flow from the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area Group. So what would happen after 5 years if the thing ends up being a flop? Well, if it ends up being a flop after 5 years, then the city's going to get an awfully nice chunk of land, hill, and beautiful park for a pretty reasonable price, much cheaper than we paid for some other land to acquire recently here in the city of Detroit Lakes for other types of projects. But a lot of people still might say, well, why didn't Detroit Mountain Recreation Area, or why didn't Detroit Mountain, make it in general? Why did it ever shut down? Well, to be honest, a lawsuit and bureaucracy. That's what shut it down. An injury without the proper insurance covering it shut down a ski hill that had been going on for 50 years here in the Lakes area. It wasn't weather, it wasn't mismanagement, although I guess you could argue with the insurance thing lapping or whatever the issue was with it, could be mismanagement, I guess, on some level. But weather's the one I keep hearing with global warming, that we don't need a ski hill. Look at the winter we had this year. Tell me how many days kids could have been out on the slopes, especially with all those snow days we had. Now, I'm not here to get into the whole global debate argument, but I've been here since '06, and we've had 5 very harsh winters, which means we would have 5 fabulous years to enjoy skiing. And with all the redevelopment we've done in town, I think it's a great opportunity to bring people to town in the wintertime to see our city. And not only that, but also give people that live here year-round an opportunity to have even more fun in the outdoors.